Ms. Ling.
Mr. Speaker, unlike SARS in 2003, which caused serious illnesses but was well contained within infected groups, or the H1N1 flu virus in 2009, which was contagious but milder, the COVID-19 was both contagious and prone to severe symptoms in high-risk groups, especially our seniors. This led to a pandemic of a generation affecting Singaporeans in an unprecedented way for almost 3 years. I thank the team from the Prime Minister's office for drawing on a review and interviews with key participants in the crisis, including our ministers, civil servants, and representatives from the public, private, and people sectors to encapsulate the key events, major issues, and more importantly, the lessons to be drawn and how we can prepare Singapore for the next pandemic or crisis in this white paper. Relative to many other countries, we have done well in protecting both life and livelihoods. Singapore's vaccination rates are among the highest in the world, thanks to a high level of trust that our people continue to place in our government, a trust that's hard-earned and never to be taken for granted of, as Minister of State Sng Lin just deeply mentioned in her speech. Overall, case fatality rate is one of the lowest globally. Still, we must always stay alert, nimble, and adaptable to prepare for new challenges and nasty surprises. I agree with most of the reflections in the white paper and would like to raise 2 areas of focus to fortify and protect Singapore and Singaporeans where another crisis of similar magnitude hits us. They are 1, comprehensively supporting all vulnerable groups, including transient residents like migrant workers in Singapore, and 2, proliferating the use of telehealth in management of illnesses, especially chronic disease, including mental wellness support. Firstly, social and community support for vulnerable groups. An impressive 593 million was disbursed to around 480,000 unique beneficiaries across the pandemic period. They were given in the forms of temporary relief fund, COVID-19 support grant, COVID-19 recovery grant temporary, and COVID-19 recovery grant. What was most uplifting to me is that over 288 non-governmental groups and grown-ups partner the government to support the community, especially the vulnerable. The saying, a chain is no stronger than its weakest link, and life is after all a chain, by William James, an American historian and psychologist, reminds us of the importance of looking out for the vulnerable groups in our midst, especially during crisis times. Several members of this House have spoken up about the clusters that emerged among the migrant worker dormitories and how transmission persisted and infection among migrant workers grew exponentially during the pandemic. This took most Singaporeans by surprise and shone a light on the living conditions of migrant workers. I'm grateful to volunteer-run groups like Welcome in My Backyard of Wimby, COVID-19 Migrant Support Coalition, and food-related initiatives like We Eat for their spirited actions during the most difficult times to bring much-needed relief and support to our migrant workers. I also appreciate the swift actions taken by the government, including improving standards of new dormitories for migrant workers and setting up of a new MOM division to support migrant workers at dormitory operations. I'm also very thankful to hear from the Minister for Manpower earlier on his comprehensive updates on what the Ministry of Manpower have and will continue to do to ensure dormitory standards. I hope that this lesson will propel the government to conduct a systematic scan during peacetime, to scrutinize every sector where lower-cost workers, including migrant ones, are employed, to ensure that their employers or agents are regulated and made responsible to provide a certain standard of living, employee welfare, and resources to integrate them in the community that they are working in, including the community around their work sites or dormitories. The next group of vulnerable groups who suffered during the pandemic were children and family members in families with family violence. I read with great dismay of the jump in the number of cases reported during the pandemic. From 7 April to 6 May 2020, there were 476 police reports filed for offences commonly associated with family violence. This was a 22% increase compared with a monthly average of about 389 such cases before circuit breaker, according to the police then. Some partners in the social service agencies related to media concerns and their constraints during those times to respond due to stay-home and safe management measures. More flexibility for social workers and MSF having rights to remove children and family members suffering from family violence during times of crisis must be considered and instituted. I'm grateful to hear from the Minister of State, Ling, that efforts are being done by the Task Force on Family Violence and will be progressively implemented. Moving on to proliferating the use of telehealth. I spoke about more use and subsidy support of telehealth and digital modes that augment physical and mental health support in several of my speeches in this House. One of the recent breakthroughs in the form of chronic disease management program allowing the use of child subsidies and MediSave for outpatient treatment via approved telehealth like video consultation needs to be followed through with faster scaling and proliferation of proven telehealth protocols in the treatment of illnesses, especially chronic diseases, including mental illnesses. As our population continues to age, mobility issues of more seniors are likely to increase, and the use of a hybrid physical and remote telehealth treatment protocols will be of increasing importance. The government should take the inflection in adoption of telehealth during the pandemic that we used to protect patients to push on in shaping such healthcare treatment and support as a new norm. This will also address the healthcare workers' shortage and overwork problems, though it will require short-term technology capital investment and change management processes for clinicians and patients. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I'm proud of how Singapore, our people, our leaders, especially those on the multi-ministry task force, our government, and many unsung heroes have pulled strengths together to not only brace through but emerge strong after a difficult 3 years of pandemic. My heartfelt thanks again to everyone who has contributed one way or another in the fight of COVID-19 pandemic. My suggestions notwithstanding, sir, I support the motion. Thank you.